That's another big one. Okay, let's just preface this with the image that you're going in early season, right? Let's have a normal to heavy winter where there's lots of snow. In May, you probably will not see most of your lakes and creeks. Matter of fact, you won't see any of your lakes unless they're down below snow line, and then you might see some of it. You'll see icebergs floating around and stuff like that. But up higher, realize that what happens in the Sierra, and I have to paint this picture every time, but it's good for you to stick it in your head. It's not like back east. It's not like in some areas where your lakes will skin up with ice and all of your hockey fanatics will go, oh my God, get out there and play some hockey. It's great ice. You know, the ice is good today. No, what happens in the Sierra is the lakes will skin up with lots of ice. Maybe that ice is 4, 5, 6 inches thick. But then it gets 20 feet, 40, 50 feet of snow, which percolates and consolidates down to 10 or 20 or whatever. And what happens is all that snow weight pushes down on the ice to where it breaks. The water of the lake backfills up through the crack and saturates the snow, and then it refreezes. So what you have on top of your lakes is 3 or 4 feet at least of soaking wet, frozen solid surface with maybe a powder top, maybe. You know, so when you're walking on a lake and say for example, I'm gonna stay here for a second and then move on. You need to find water. You don't have any water. The creeks are all covered. The lakes are all covered. What do? Find a lake and dig in. And you're going to find that over the course of the process of digging in, creating a hole, digging down, you may go through 2 feet at least without any kind of water percolation, any kind of water presence at all. So you're going to go down a couple feet, the length of an ice axe, before you start seeing a discoloration in the white snow to where it turns into kind of a light blue or a light green. And then you know you're getting closer to the water. So you keep digging a little further. So this is just to paint the picture that lakes are really thick of frozen, wet snow. So there's no worries about walking straight across, beeline. We do it all the time. My 100-pound sled, pull it right on across, no big deal. As the lakes thaw come June into July, depending upon the intensity of the winter, you know, drought, normal, or heavy winter, when they crack out, how they thin, the effects of wind and so forth will happen then. You're going to miss all of that. You don't have to worry about all of that unless you have a drought winter and you get up there and the lakes are thin to begin with, in which case just always rule to the safe side and walk around the lake. You will learn though that even if they'll crack out around the edge. And so you get these little cracks that run around the edge of the lake and they may be a couple inches wide. You don't see water. You're still looking down 3 or 4 feet or whatever it is of frozen snow. But it's disconcerting to most people because they think it's like ice. Oh my God, it's going to break. I'm going to go out past the crack and I'm going to fall in. And it doesn't happen. There are a couple other rules of thumb for safe passage on creeks and lakes. One of which is, remember the expression to walk on white. Where the snow is thick, it'll be white in color. Where it is thinner, it'll be a little bit darker in color. There's more, like on a creek, there's more splash up into the underside of the snow bridge. So there's a little more water content in the snow, which will change the color, the way the light goes through the snowpack. So if it looks like, you know, wind transports snow, right? So the wind will create little ridges of high spots on snow. If you know you're on a lake, because the map tells you, and you look around and you don't have any trees, it's a meadow or a lake, assume the worst and walk on white. So wherever the snow is taller, thicker, at least you've got that bit of protection, because if it's white, it's thicker and you've got a better surface, a thicker surface to walk on. When it comes to creek and assessing snow bridges, assume that you don't have a reliable one, first of all. Yeah, okay, you can't see the creek. You can't hear the creek because if the snow is thin, you'll hear it, especially come June when the water volume starts increasing underneath the snowpack. A couple things happen. Not only is there a lot more splash and a lot more under erosion, undercutting of that snow that's bridging the creek, hollowing it out, but you're also going to have a lot more wind, a lot more air movement under that snow bridge, and that's going to hollow it out even more. So with those factors happening on the underside, assume that that's going on and you can't tell. Get down to where the embankment starts to level. Where it's level is where the creek is, and it'll be very obvious. You'll know as soon as you get there. Stand back a little bit and listen. Assess it by ear. Move forward and jump up and down while you know you're still on rock. If it's going to crack, if it's going to break, you want to be able to be on the snow that lands on the rock. Now, if you're there in May, you maybe have 4 inches of water in the creek, so it's not a big deal anyway. But rule of thumb, general practice, test the damn thing before you get into the water zone. Jump up and down, probe ahead with your poles, stomp your feet, move forward slowly, probe ahead. If it's really iffy, for example, what will happen is because of all this current of moisture and air underneath, cavities will open up to the sky through the snow bridges, through the entire surface that's covering the creek. And you'll have these portholes where you can look down and see the 4 inches of water. And it's through them that you're going to get your water for the night or the day or whatever. And I'm going to tell you right now, if there's much of a snowpack, you're not going to be able to dip your canteen. You're not going to be able to fill a bag or whatever, because it's 3 or 4 feet below the snow surface. And it may be questionable as far as how thick it is anyway. Am I going to lie down on this thing? No. So what you're going to do, and this is what I'm getting to, is as you're stomping your way up to a porthole where you can see the water, you're going to, the objective is to create stairs to get down into the water for getting your water. Otherwise, you're going to need to have a pump with a long tube. So a 4, 5, 6 foot long tube, so you can dangle it over the edge or stuff it down through the hole into the lake water to be able to pump out. Now, if this is a heavy winter, your water sources may be lakes that you're going to have to dig into. If it's a normal winter, come May, you're going to have some open creeks or creeks with those portals where you can see the water. Create stairs going down in there. And like you saw in some recent pictures I posted on my page and Mountain Education's page, even if the snow on the side of the creek falls in, oh my God, you're just going to land onto the bottom of the creek with 4 inches of water going around your little snowberg that you're standing on. You're not going anywhere because the snow is going to clump right onto the rocks. And you're going to say, oh, wow, that was a fun rush. And okay, let's take some water now. So it's not a big deal. It simply just drops. So if you have to melt snow, what you're going to do is you're going to start a spoonful at a time. Truthfully, do not get your pot and scoop a bunch of powder snow and stick it over your burner, because what's going to happen is the snow on the bottom of the pot is going to melt. Snow absorbs water fantastically. The water on the bottom of the pot is going to be absorbed by the snow above it, and you're going to have this air cavity on the bottom of your pot that's going to burn the pot. The snow is going to freeze at the rim and simply hang on to the rim, and not drop down. Now, if you start with a spoonful, that melts. Add 2 spoonfuls, that melts. Add 4 spoonfuls, that melts. And that's how you do it. In snow are going to be all kinds of little bits of debris, pine needles, dirt, bugs, sticks, junk like that. Yeah. So once it's melted, you're going to have to filter it. You're going to have to get that crap out. We used to use cheesecloth a long time ago because snow, for the most part, doesn't have a whole lot of contaminant in it. In the spring, there are different types of molds and bacteria that grow on snow. So just scrape that stuff out of the way. It's either pink or different colors, and just scrape it away. Get down to the white snow and melt that. But you're going to need to filter it once it's melted.